Can the carnivore diet really help for psoriasis, and what's the best way to get results? This video will give you all the info that you need to know about the carnivore diet for psoriasis, how it compares to other diet plans, and what you need to avoid along the way. We'll also be discussing how to measure your progress for the best results. Hi, I'm Dr. Chanu Dasari, a surgeon dedicated to reducing inflammation caused by gut microbiome imbalances. I myself struggled with digestive dysfunction and autoimmune inflammation in my early 20s and successfully put together a methodology that worked not only in me but also my patients. My method is called the Mind-Gut Immunity Approach and has resulted in thousands of successes over the years. If you or someone you know struggles with psoriasis and wants to rid themselves of inflammation for good, check out our website, mgiclinic.com, and schedule a discovery call with me. I'll walk you through some practical steps for psoriasis recovery and how to achieve lasting results in just 6 weeks. All right, let's get into it. We've seen some studies promoting the carnivore diet for managing psoriasis, but there's also research pointing in the opposite direction, with some even linking the carnivore diet to the development of psoriasis. So with all this differing information, how do we figure out what truly works for psoriasis? As I mentioned in my video, Ideal Diet for Psoriasis, I'm a big believer in implementing personalized, phytonutrient-rich diets tailored to each individual. And I always use 4 key criteria for determining if a diet will work for psoriasis. Here's a quick recap of those 4 criteria. Number 1 is phytonutrients. Number 2 is macronutrient requirements. Number 3 is microbiome specificity. And number 4 is food sensitivity. For a deeper explanation, check out the Ideal Diet for Psoriasis video, but I'll also give you a quick breakdown here. Just to review, the harmful bacteria and fungus in your intestine ferment carbs like sugar, starches, and fiber, causing bloating, gas, and inflammation. Now let's talk about the carnivore diet and how it holds up compared to other diets like the Phyto-diet that I advocate for psoriasis. So yes, the carnivore diet sometimes helps psoriasis, but if you analyze it, the diet only works because it completely eliminates carbohydrates from this equation, minimizing the source of inflammation. The carnivore diet for psoriasis focuses entirely on animal products, excluding all fiber and carbohydrates, while including electrolytes to maintain balance. The diet cuts out all carbs, fiber, lactose, sugars, and starches, leaving nothing for harmful gut bacteria and fungus to feed on. Unlike low-carb or keto diets for psoriasis, the carnivore diet eliminates carbs entirely, offering calories in the form of fats and proteins. And by doing this, the carnivore diet avoids feeding bad bacteria and fungus in the gut. That's why some people with psoriasis use it temporarily during flare-ups or when other diets aren't working. But remember those 4 criteria I mentioned earlier? Let's take a closer look at how this diet works long term. While eliminating carbs may help starve harmful bacteria, it doesn't fully address the long-term gut health issues because it doesn't ensure that a healthy microbiome balance is restored. Keep in mind, people with psoriasis have elevated levels of interleukin-23, interleukin-12, and many of the medications used to treat psoriasis inhibit these inflammatory cytokines. But where are these cytokines being produced? They're being produced in the gut. And I'll explain how that works shortly. Let's kick things off by talking about the first criteria, phytonutrients. Phytonutrients are micronutrients derived from plant superfoods. These nutrients provide antioxidants and anti-inflammatory benefits that can be extremely beneficial for people with psoriasis, as they help calm the inflammation being produced in the gut. This 2023 study analyzed how probiotic and prebiotic supplementation can improve the gut microbiota and reduce inflammation seen in psoriatic patients. These include psoriatic arthritis as well as skin psoriasis and scalp psoriasis. And here's one from 2023 that evaluates how cumin contributes to gut microbiome improvements and decreases skin inflammation. Phytonutrients fall into several categories, including polyphenols, terpenes, thiocyanates, fiber, resistant starches, omega fats, and alkaloids. These compounds are critical for reducing inflammation, which is essential for improving gut health and managing psoriasis symptoms. Now, a strict carnivore diet for psoriasis doesn't include any of these phytonutrients. So if you're set on trying it, you can still incorporate herbal teas which deliver phytonutrients without any of the added carbs, fiber, or sugar. Other psoriasis diets like paleo and keto include phytonutrients, and the paleo diet in particular used to allow for vegetables before it became more carnivore-like. So you might want to look at these low-carb or Atkins diets if phytonutrients are important to you. With the strict carnivore approach though, you won't get the benefits of phytonutrients that help with psoriasis inflammation. Now, let's talk about macronutrient requirements. The carnivore diet for psoriasis is actually quite effective in meeting the body's macronutrient needs. Macronutrients include carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, and you can use the calculator on my website to input your height, weight, and activity level, and get a personalized estimate on your macronutrient requirements. If you're following the carnivore diet, adjustments will be needed, like increasing your fat and protein while decreasing the amount of carbohydrate intake. In general, a psoriasis diet that gets half of its calories from fat is normally a good thing. Although I don't particularly like saturated fats and meat, which are associated with certain inflammatory processes. I also don't like the animal-based cholesterol in the meat, which can allow for increases in arachidonic acid in the body. I describe both of these pathways of psoriasis inflammation in my other videos on my channel, so if you need a refresher, feel free to look at some of these other videos. Now, when I design psoriasis diets for my clients, they're generally lower in carb anyways for obvious reasons, and most of the fats come from plant-based omega sources, so you don't have this problem. While the carnivore diet works well from a macronutrient perspective for psoriasis, there's definitely some concerns with the animal fats and cholesterol. Next, let's look at microbiome specificity. Here's the equation again. Bad bacteria and fungus feed on carbs, which leads to inflammation. Now, this inflammation can travel to the joints, it can travel to the skin, and that's what we see in psoriasis. It leads to elevations in interleukin 23 and interleukin 12, and those are the molecular targets for all of these big biologic medications. Now, while the carnivore diet removes carbs, does it actually encourage the growth of good bacteria? The answer is an emphatic no. I know this might be a controversial take because there are people on YouTube who argue that the gut microbiome diversity improves on the carnivore diet, and there are even entire Reddit threads dedicated to this debate. But from my experience reviewing hundreds, if not thousands of stool studies, I have never seen a healthy functional microbiome in someone following the carnivore diet with psoriasis. Psoriasis-related inflammation, now whether it's in the joints or in the skin, often originates from gut microbiome dysfunction because 80% of the immune system is in the gut. That's why in our program, we start by using patented probiotics from Japan to rebalance the microbiome and push out the harmful bacteria. But how do we encourage the growth of good bacteria selectively? It's not by avoiding carbs, it's by selecting the right phytonutrients. And this is where the Microbiome method excels. We design a psoriasis diet that promotes the growth of beneficial bacteria, which form a protective biofilm that crowds out the harmful bacteria and fungus. Over the course of several weeks, this process reduces the body's production of pro-inflammatory markers like TNF-alpha, interleukin 6, interleukin 23, and interleukin 12. The major issue with the carnivore diet for psoriasis is that it doesn't address the underlying problem. Sure, you're not feeding the bad bacteria by cutting off the carbs, but as soon as you reintroduce fiber, starches, or sugar, the symptoms flare up again. And I've seen this happen repeatedly. People fail the carnivore diet because it's not sustainable long term. Once they start eating carbs again, their symptoms come back because the root cause of microbiome dysfunction wasn't resolved. On the other hand, the Phyto-diet fixes the gut microbiome problems associated with psoriasis. Long term, this gives you more freedom when it comes to your diet, even allowing for cheat meals without any flare-ups. I typically teach my clients how to incorporate cheat meals by the second or third month of the program once we've resolved most of the gut issues. While the carnivore diet can help during psoriasis flare-ups, it's not a sustainable long-term strategy compared to the customized phyto diets we design for our clients. I've had numerous discovery calls with people who've tried the carnivore diet for psoriasis but didn't achieve lasting results. Many of them experienced temporary relief, but their symptoms returned as soon as they reintroduced carbs. And this is a story I hear often. My hope is that this honest review of the carnivore diet for psoriasis helps you decide if it's the right choice for you. While it can help in the short term, addressing the gut microbiome is key to long-term relief. Finally, let's discuss the last criteria, food sensitivities. Food sensitivities are a big issue when dealing with psoriasis. And in my other videos, I cover 4 primary types of food sensitivity tests that are available: the skin prick test, the IgE blood test, the IgG4 blood test, and the newer mediator release blood test. If you'd like to learn more about these tests, I recommend checking out my video on food sensitivity testing for psoriasis. Now, regarding the carnivore diet for psoriasis, we need to discuss complex proteins, something I brought up in my previous discussions. This means there's a high chance of developing sensitivity to one or more types of meat, or even eggs, and this is why the carnivore diet can be risky for psoriasis, as it severely limits your food options and increases the likelihood of food sensitivities. All right, that's my talk. In the comments below, tell me your experience with psoriasis with carnivore type diets and what worked for you and what didn't. I'm curious to hear about your experiences. As you know, I've had great success using the Mind-Gut-Immunity method in my clients, and I'm a strong supporter of customized phyto diets and focused gut microbiome recalibration strategies for our clients to achieve lasting success. So if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content such as this. As always, this is Dr. Chanu Dasari with the Mind Gut Immunity Clinic, and I'll see you next time.